And then let me share my screen. All right. Welcome to. Hold up, I'm getting some echo here. All right, I think I'm good now. All right, welcome to our Space City Rocketry 2021-2022 General Meeting of July 27th, 2021. Um, so agenda. So this is our meeting overview. Some of the things we're going to be discussing today. So first, we are going to be talking about something very serious at the beginning. And then after that, we're going to be talking just whatever we always go over every week, the shout outs, the updates, a little bit on summer recruiting, and then finally some questions. But
Yeah. On a very serious note, we received an email on Friday from Dr. Hungerford and Dr. Corner, which is the professor that's in the back room using those computers, or the back room of the lab rather. And it turns out there is some stuff that was found to be missing. So one of them was a keyboard, but it was found, and the other is a graphics card. Now, it was brought to our attention that that was missing, and since we are the ones that are in the lab the most, they think it was us that either stole it or moved it or something. And so if that's not found, they put some pretty serious consequences on their sites for us, which is one, we can get kicked out of the lab altogether, or since that like graphics card and that research stuff was bought for with government funding, it is very serious that if it was stolen, that it was stolen. So legal action can be taken against AIAA and the entire team can be shut down. So, well, not just the team, but like the whole organization. Um, that's SCR, UAV, Hobby Rocketry, and serious stuff. So there are some more details that we don't know about, but we will be talking to Dr. Corner tomorrow to discuss in more detail. So until then, if you know anything, if you've seen anything, or if you've heard anything about it missing, the graphics card that goes in the back room of one of those computers back there, please, please, please speak up. And if one of you was the one who took it for whatever reason or moved it, please just bring it back to the lab. It's not worth having the entire team and organization shut down for just the graphics card. Some things that we will be implementing just because of that. Even if it wasn't us, we will be changing up the way we operate in the lab. First thing is we will be changing the key code. So there's a little box that has like the key code for the lab. We will be changing that code, and only the sub-team leads, Irvin, Omar, and I will be, and JP will have access to that code. If you are in the lab, you have to be accompanied by one of those people. If not, you do not have permission to be in the lab. And then we will be also implementing lab check-ins. So like we did before, but this time just to keep accountable who's in the lab when. And yeah, I think I'll open it up to questions if anybody has any.
Will we be enforcing the sign in and sign out method more strictly now?
I hope so, yes, and that will be on you guys, the leads. Well, I guess me as well, and Irvin, whoever's in the lab who has access to that, or like to the keys and everything. All of us would be responsible for making sure that those or those members, whoever's in there, checks in and checks out. Melissa said something in the chat. Will officers have access to the code? I think not, just because you guys aren't directly affecting the team's work. So really just the people who need to have access will have access. Everybody else can wait their turn, or wait till one of those people is available to open the lab for them.
Any more questions before we move on? Okay. Well, I guess not, but this is a very, very serious topic. So, anything, please let us know. All right. Well, now we are moving on to shout outs. I guess this is now a reoccurring thing we're going to be doing every week based on our work throughout the week. So the weekly shout outs. So I know I saw a lot of new faces today in the general meeting, a lot of new names, first time joiners. So I want to give you a shout out. We pretty much talked to a lot of y'all. We've had I guess interviews throughout the last week and a half, and so I'm happy you all here and you were able to make it. If you have yet not joined a specific sub team, please message Gustavo or me on the Discord. If you haven't been able to join the Discord for any reason, just send a message on here, and then somebody will send the link for that. And then I think there's a couple of y'all here who we still haven't interviewed you, sent you an email yet. So you will receive an email, or if not, if you're in the Discord and you're interested and you joined, send us a message. We'll take care of it. And then also shout out to all the sub-team leads again and all the members for their meetings. The amount of progression we've been having compared from last year to this year on the quality of the meetings and the slides has been amazing. So thank you all. And then a specific shout out to Tala for hosting a very detailed and informative propulsion meeting. It was great. It was very informative. She went over a lot of stuff for propulsion. She has like a very detailed outline of how she wants the whole semester to look like. Even though things might change, it was still great. And then she also gave a lesson over impulse and thrust curves in their meeting. It was very great. So shout out Tala. Sub team updates again, second time this summer. So here's I guess the order we want y'all to go. So first is structures.
Alrighty, so for anyone who is new, I am Haley. I am the structure sub-team lead. Pretty much all we did this week was talked more about the pros and cons of the current designs we have for the fin canisters. We're still at 2 designs right now. We're hoping to find a few more before deciding on anything. And then from there, we're gonna try and work on considering a few of the methods and figuring out where we'd like to go from there.
Thank you, Haley. Next, 30K propulsions.
All right. So for 30K propulsion, we went over thrust curves and how to read them, and basically like what components are useful to look for. In addition to, as you mentioned, the schedule for propulsion, just to give members and anyone even outside of our team, so they could look at this schedule or our progress bar and know what we're doing when. Yeah.
Thank you, Tala. Analysis, Ravi.
Hello, everyone. For analysis this week, we completed our flight sim software trade study, and we decided that we will be continuing primarily with the use of OpenRocket, although we are looking to buy the RockSim package as well and use that in comparison and have another software to give us more values for the predicted apogee in particular. So shout out to Omar and Amy for that. It was the first trade study I think they've majorly worked on in the team, and they did a great job. So yeah, we wouldn't have completed that without them. But also I assigned an OpenRocket project to my team, and their job is to design a rocket and trying to give them as much freedom as possible. No restrictions, just the closest to 30K will win. So hopefully we'll get more familiar with OpenRocket for those who haven't used it and kind of continue to use that. But other than that, in our quest to conquer FEA and CFD, I reached out to Nick, who is the Rice Eclipse rocket team president, for any advice on how they started to attack that, and if they have a team dedicated to that, what's their experience with that. So hopefully we can meet with him soon and then get a plan going and start working on that.
Thank you, Robbie. Great stuff. Avionics, V.
Yeah, so avionics had their first sub-team meeting. We kind of briefly went over what I want to see for the year going forward. We talked a little bit about telemetry and getting ham radio license. So I think moving forward, we want to get a little bit more divide of who's going to be working on what part of the SRAD part of the avionics, and then who's going to be working on their ham radio license when, just so we can make sure that everyone takes care of it.
All right, thank you. And then finally, recovery.
So for recovery last week, we went over a calendar to see how we're going to split the time until we reach the PDR. We broke down the recovery sub-team into different specifications just so every member has a little bit more time to gain more knowledge on a particular component. And then we also made delegates in the recovery team. So their main responsibility is going to be to reach out to a certain sub-team. And next week, we're just hoping on having a brief presentation on a possible design so the rest of the sub-team knows what's expected when it's their time to present their own design. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Good stuff. Thank you all for all the hard work. And then I guess next week we'll have SRAD propulsion too. We're gonna get rolling with Ozzy. So Gustavo, you want to talk about summer recruiting a little bit?
Yeah, sure will. So as you guys know, Irvin and I have been doing a little bit of recruiting on the side. Lots of new faces here, so I'm happy to see that. We want to like extend or like reiterate that we want to get new members on. If you guys know anybody, have friends, or anybody who seems like they're really interested and would be committed, just send us their contact info. We'll try to set up a meeting with them, learn a little about them, and try to see if we can get them on the team. It'll be like a little interview. It's not going to be anything like technical or like, we're not quizzing them or anything. We really just want to get to know them, talk to them a little bit, see if they're like a good fit for the team, and maybe find out what sub team they want to be on. All of the, I guess, more like regular kind of recruiting that you might like have in mind will be going on like during the semester. So we'd maybe have like go to like to the different club events, organization events, to try to spread the word a little bit, walk around campus with the rocket maybe, and go to classes and lectures to try to look for more people, I guess.
Cool. Okay, now I guess we open the meeting for any questions you'll have about any sub teams or anything regarding the team in general. We're here to answer it.
I have a question.
Yes. Yep.
So I know that each team is trying to like get a calendar together, and I know there's gonna be communication between the teams. Is there at all a way that we can do a like group or joint calendar so we can like kind of know where other sub teams are at, like besides having to talk to whoever the outreach person is for that sub team?
Yeah. So
Definitely.
actually, right before the meeting, we were thinking of having like an open Gantt chart between the sub team leads and us too. We didn't want to include it just because there's still like a lot to work on, and we haven't really put anything into it. But that's just an idea. There's a couple different like softwares or websites we wanted to use to where any of the sub team leads can go and edit their own section. I think we're gonna meet with Goose and make a decision on that, and then we'll communicate with the leads. And then we also want to make it visible for any member to look at, and for the sub team leads to be able to edit it.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you guys talked a couple of meetings ago about templates for documentation, or sorry, you guys talked about documentation. Is there any templates on the drive for that?
Yeah,
So
right now, yeah, go ahead, Irvin.
yeah, right now I added on the 30K propulsion a bunch of folders that could be useful that for any sub teams. I think we're gonna narrow it down just to like a handful of like folders that we want every single sub team to have, and then after that, yeah, I guess each sub team lead can decide on like what could like benefit them the most, like what folders they could add. I don't know if you want to add anything else, Stella, on that.
No, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah, but 30K propulsion is the one that has the like a good amount of like folders that y'all can use. You can look at it right now actually, and then I guess we will have like required ones, um, stuff like general meeting slides, or just sub team meetings in which that's gonna have like your slides, links to the videos, and any other notes.
I'll also post a link to the Google Drive, just so anybody who's new can have access to that as well.
I don't know if this is what you meant, Carlos, but I know on last year's drive, there's a folder with templates for like specific documentation types. So like ASOPs, trade studies, decision matrices, stuff like that is on last year's drive, if that's what you were asking.
I think maybe what he was referring to, I don't know if you want to correct me, Carlos, was we want to have the folders set up in a specific way, just so that you can go to any sub team and kind of find the information you're looking for without having to dig around too much.
So I was referring to what Ravi was talking about,
Oh,
but
sorry.
yeah, no, I
Sorry.
was also, yeah, I think that still applies to like the document keeping of everything. So it's all good.
Yeah, it's just because Irvin and I have been working on that a little bit behind the scenes, so maybe you knew about that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's in the new one, but last year we did have like different templates for like a purchase order and other stuff like that. So we can try to and just get all the ones from last year that we think are useful.
Yeah.
I know a couple of the people, Farida worked on like a build materials one, so we can get those there too. On like I guess on like a general template folder.
I also had a question about monthly reports, or when we're starting that up, or if you all expect one for the summer.
Good question.
I guess we can have just one that recaps what we did over the summer. I don't think it's too necessary just yet, just because it is a lot of just conceptual design idea stuff. But something that recaps what we did over the summer doesn't have to be like concrete, substantial. Just talk about kind of some of the ideas that you went through. No, that'll be good.
All right, good deal.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Any technical questions about some other sub teams? Actually, I have a question.
Go for it.
Hey, actually two questions. But first, Carlos Soriano, can you talk a little bit about the some of the stuff you look at for your separation system? And
what do you mean?
I know
Specifically?
you brought up like examples this last weekly like meeting.
Well, yeah. Well, last meeting I've been trying to introduce different hardware to everybody in recovery just to get some ideas going about what the ejection mechanism could look like. So so far we've looked at CO2 systems. I think the one we looked at yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday it was called the Eagle, and that's a CO2 ejection system. That one's pretty expensive, but I think we looked at a cable cutter called the Piranha to use the bag and the main parachute as a drogue, as like you tie it, and then once you trigger the cable cutter with black powder, it cuts the the bag of the main chute, and then the main parachute opens up. All the slides, all the presentations so far for recovery are in the recovery subfolder. I made another folder called presentations because you guys probably didn't understand that terrible explanation. But if you guys are interested, you can look at the actual slides and look at what recovery has been up to.
Yeah, that also, I guess, thank you. Thank you for that answer, by the way. That also brings me to that what we're gonna be trying doing too is all the sub-team leads, if they can please record their meetings, you can just send it to me on an email or something, and then I'll upload it to YouTube. I have uploaded recoveries meetings, and they are on the AIAA channel. So if you wanna go through the recovery meeting from yesterday, that's on there, and then eventually we'll have I guess like different playlists for each sub team on that AIAA channel to make it easier to find. Any other questions?
You said you had 2 questions.
Oh, my other question. Oh yeah. Oh man, what was my other question? I don't remember what my other question was.
You slacking, Irvin? What's up with that?
You are slacking.
I think
Oh,
your
man.
question was, can I buy everybody around the sushi? I think
Around
that
Oh
was
the
yeah, I think
sushi.
that yeah. The answer is yes, Irvin.
If somebody's able to read my mind and remember what my question was, I'll do it.
Was it anything about any of the different SRAD projects?
Nah, I don't
Structures,
remember.
avionics?
I don't remember my question, so I can't tell you.
Carlos, just a quick question. For the separation system, do you guys, I don't know if you got a chance whenever we did Spaceport, if you got to see the Switzerland team and their separation system. It was like
No.
spring mechanics and stuff. It looked really badass, to say the least. But I think I still have the link for it, or at least a video of them. I might share it with you, but it was a really cool system. It was an SRAD system. So I know that would be kind of complicated for us to do, but really cool. They had
Yeah,
like
for
springs around
sure.
the base of their bulkhead, which basically allowed the separation and all that. So it was all like mechanical, and there was no like need for CO2 or black powder. So just some
That's awesome. You can send it to me on Discord, and
Yeah.
I'll take a look at it, and I'll probably have it in this week's presentation if I have the time, because I've been actually trying to find one, but it's really hard to find one.
Okay, sweet.
Thanks.
No problem.
So I actually have a question while we have the sub-team leads here. So, 1 second. How do I? Okay, whatever. Sorry. So my question is, with avionics this year, we want to make a like a modular board so that you can kind of like turn on and off different sensors to collect different data for different flights. So my question is, with having all the sub-teams and sub-team leads here, what data would you guys like to see collected? So when we get there, we can, like have pre-planned how we're gonna, what sensors we're gonna use, how we're gonna put them, and like what kind of connections we're gonna be using. Let me know if none of that made any sense. I could try and re-explain.
Also, like any parameters that you guys think that you guys would like to see us test or gather data on throughout flight of your sub team, like any particular part. If it could be structures or some type of like what we had planned before with strain gauges and stuff like that, and thermocouples around the motor tube, testing out temperatures and whatnot. Anything that it can be simple or complex for us to start breaking down. But it would be really good to see any other sub teams trying to dig into that so that we could have more of these sensors around the rocket for us to gather more data on it.
Actually, now that you're bringing that up, if we want to collect, I guess, use the thermocouples, and that would be on the motor tube, right? If we're using a minimum diameter rocket,
So, question for you: with the measuring the temperature of the motor tube, are we measuring it like as a long term in the flight, if that makes sense, or are we measuring in the in the immediate sense? Like, are we wanting to find like at the moment it burns, how hot is it, or are we trying to measure like at the end of the flight or during the flight, what was the average temperature?
I mean, I don't think we made a decision on that, but I guess
Because if we
it
want to get the
depends.
like initial burn, we can't do that with a thermocoupler. There's a delay on a thermocoupler, and the temperature can get real hot. So sometimes it can even burn out the thermocoupler. So we would get an initial delay, which is why I'm asking. Like if we want a long term, it's okay. But
Well,
if
I
we
guess
want
that kind of answers the question, right? We probably won't be able to do the initial burn.
Okay,
Yeah, but
so
then not with a
thermocouples might
thermocouple.
have
We
a
could do something different
thermocouples
between
might
the
have a
two.
delay, V, but aren't there different devices that can measure instantaneous?
That's what I was saying. Yeah,
Instantaneously,
that's why
like
are
RTDs
we
and
going
stuff?
to use a thermocoupler? Or are we going to use something more expensive? That's why I was asking which one we're using.
I guess trade study.
Yeah, probably definitely a trace. I was also going to suggest that like if it's initial temperature that we want from the propulsion system, I suggest us adding that to the test bench, or I forgot exactly what it's called.
Testing.
Test stand. Yeah, exactly. Instead of actually on the rocket, that might be a little bit harder to apply to the rocket itself. But yeah, that's definitely something that we can look into.
Another cool idea, which off topic, but I know Eric and Dom back in the day were thinking about adding pilot static tubes to the length of the rocket, just so you can see where the flow separates from like the surface of the rocket, because as soon as you have that flow separation like underneath, you really don't need the rocket to be the same diameter. Like you can literally just make like a skeleton from the bottom out. So if somehow you can come up with a way to measure the pressure differential along the length of the rocket, that'd be really cool.
So measuring the pressure at different parts of the rocket.
Say that again.
So measuring like the pressure in different parts of the rocket.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay. What about the analysis sub team? Is there any data we can collect for you guys?
It's definitely something we'll have to think about, but I think from like Oberon's launch, the data that y'all gathered from there, at least for now, is sufficient. But we'd probably definitely think of more things as they come along. I'll let you know.
Ravi, I can also send you the data that we collected from the materials testing lab.
Oh yeah,
if you want to take a look at that.
for sure.
If you're able to analyze that information from the materials testing lab, please relay to me. I would very much so like to know before I make too many extra airframes to do more testing on.
Yeah, for sure. Once we we'll do that in collaboration with you. Keep you in the loop.
Fantastic.
Any more questions, concerns, anything? I guess not. All right, well, I guess we have officially ended the meeting here, but you are welcome to stay as long as you want and just ask questions. Oh, and the new members, if you have any questions about the sub team, you can definitely stay, or you want to just chat. I'll be here for a few more minutes.
Doing recovery, guys. Best sub team.